About me, well, I started writing as young as months old, scribbling on things, so I knew that I had some kind of relationship with a pen and a paper. But at that time, I was writing stuff that was probably encrypted, which was like mumble writing for someone, months old. And eventually, when I found out who I was and what I wanted to say and what affected me, then I really started to put it together in a way that it would be palpable for other individuals and audiences to read and experience, I like to focus a lot on plots, themes, and characterizations, as well as the dialogue of the characters in any particular thing that I'm writing. They have to be interesting, and they have to speak to the audience in a way that makes them say to themselves, I know people who talk like that. My uncle talks like that. My sister is spot on. And a lot of that comes from how serious, I really take the approach to writing. I can have 100 tattoos, but it'll never be like what I write. So that's why I don't use tattoos. I write how I feel, what I think, and I've had the opportunity to put it down on paper and publish it. And I'd like to begin to basically talk about, what I feel my writing is about. In 2015, I published a New York City murder mystery titled Final Hearing. And so we're talking about, a period of 3 decades or so ago. New York City, the corruption part of New York City really has never really changed, but this story really shows the theater of corruption in New York City politics. As two people, a couple, that are married. One is a city councilman, very popular. The other is a partner in a white shoe law firm on Wall Street, and they're married and very popular, but they get murdered 6 months apart. And so these brothers, one is an assistant and the other a number runner from Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, come together, and the brothers thrusted into city council politics and by a special election. And then they experience what New York City politics is all about. And people can always start off ballyhooing about being an outsider, but you're only an outsider until you get in. Then you become an insider. And that's the lesson that we all learn once we get involved. We really realize that there are other things that control history and situations. And so it wasn't until earlier this year, February of 2020, that I published my second book, Exposing Politics, a collection of poetry. And that book is basically a poignant meditation on the troubling state of American politics, where we see everything that we see right now. Well, my book really explains most of this stuff for those who don't really understand or believe what they see or hear. Well, sometimes artists are the jewels of society because we are the trusted agents for what's going on in the world. So people usually listen to us when I perform for people, because also this whole book is basically, when I perform it in 10 different characters, so it's very theatrical, and kids really get the gist of it, and they really understand it, and we trade places, and it becomes very interesting, give and take. But at the end, they say, Mr. Sanders, I learned something today. I learned that there are people that seem like they'll never like us, meaning black people. They'll never love us. So I sit them down and I talk to them about it. And we go through parts of the book, and I show them, that in spite of that, they are champions. In spite of that, there's a lot of positivity. And, that's what I feel my statement as an artist is to give people hope, give people the truth, let them to make their decisions on their own, but from a clear perspective. And, like I said, we're trusted agents, in society, because a lot of us are unfettered in terms of how we speak about things, and I got that basically from my mother. She used to take me to civil rights functions and rallies and NAACP events, and we used to go to Savior's Day, when it was at Madison Square Garden. My mother would bring me, to watch Minister Farrakhan, So everything was rooted for me was in, current events and politics and being relevant and understanding, the ins and outs and how people treat you and how the odds are stacked, against you, and that you have to be great to be better. And sometimes you can be better and you can still get your legs cut off from you, So that book, as well as Final Hearing, you can find on my website. It is for sale. If you get it on my website, I will most definitely autograph them for you. And if you send me a note, I will definitely personalize it any way that you feel you want it, just for you, And that is at malcolmentertainment.com. And you go to the Malcolm shop at malcolmentertainment.com. And you will be able to purchase a copy of either Final Hearing or Exposing Politics, a collection of poetry. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Oscar Sanders 2202, Twitter, Oscar Sanders. And you can also sign up for updates at malcolmentertainment.com. So, again, Final Hearing, Exposing Politics, a collection of poetry. And